Welcome to Clubhouse with a review of the Arsense Gundam X from Bandai's SD Gundam World Heroes line. Yet another nice departure from the Knights and the Musha characters, with him being designed after the Phantom Thief trope. I'm sure you've seen this very specific trope before with the cape and the monocle and the top hat and everything, though Arsene here wears something close to a trilby, but you know, it's a hat with a brim that matters. There's also the use of fancy gadgets as well, with Kaito Kid, who also uses a gun that we all know, so the staples of the Phantom Thief are all here. Getting right down to business, Arsense Gundam X was released on October 16, 2021 and sold for a price of 660 yen. The box art is once again done by SK Yoshinobu with his 3D model-based artwork. The box measures 15 by 20.5 by 7 centimeters, so it is a standard small-sized box for the series. The short side of the box tells us that this is the 10th release in the series, and everything else is repeated from the front of the box. The other side is exactly the same. The long side has studio shots of Arsene and all his gimmicks, and the other side has a link to the official website, and then it's all legal text. Inside the box, we get Arsene spread across 6 runners, which isn't a lot, but in line with budget kits. A nice surprise here is the gold runner, which uses its nicer gold instead of that drab yellow that we've gotten for nearly every other kit in the line so far, including the Issei style Wing Gundam. The clear color this time is red, which looks real fancy, even though the only actual clear part we're supposed to get in Arsene is supposed to be the green in his chest. We get a sheet of stickers here with a long red one here going around the hat, and then this long black one too going right under it. Then this one is for the eyes, and then this small green one is for the forehead. This blue one is for the monocle, this green one is for the chest, this silver and brown one goes right below it, then this red one goes further down still on the crotch, and then we get these for each of the front skirts. Then there are 2 stickers for the embossed silver details on each of the shoulders. The instructions tell us a bit about Arsene at the front, and the back tells us about all the different parts and accessories on him. The center is for the 2-page comic that we get in all of the series. And then the black and white side is all for assembly instructions, as you'd expect. A bit over 40 minutes later, we have Arsene before any stickers are applied, and you can probably already guess that there's really no way all those embossed edges will be colored with stickers later. The more complex coloring aside, there's really nothing particularly wrong with how things are colored here, though he also doesn't have those elaborate cutout sections with clear plastic poking through like some of the other kits in the line. One problem I had on my kit was a really loose shoulder on the right side, which I think is probably just a fluke on my particular kit. If you have this and you do have the same issue, do let me know in the comments down below. It's quite bad on my kit, so I fixed it with some glue, and you'll be seeing it after the fix for the rest of this video. With not much else in particular to go over in this form, let's get some stickers on him. With the help of the sticker details, Arsene now looks properly like his character, and if you consider how there aren't really that many stickers here, they really do quite an efficient job. The black sticker here that runs along the hat actually folds into the top surface, which you really wouldn't think would work, but is surprisingly quite acceptable rather than being a wrinkled mess that I expected at first. The silver details on the shoulders actually have some white parts in the middle here, and this is something you can cut out if you have a really sharp knife to instantly upgrade the looks on the shoulder. The green part at the front here isn't clear green, as we already mentioned earlier, which is a big shame. The really bad stickers this time are the ones here on the front skirt that really try their best to add silver and brown to all that detail, but the shape is just too detailed and too complex for the paper to stretch over, and in the end, we get a sloppy mess that ruins the look quite a bit because they're always facing you and looking all wrinkled like that. Let's do a fashion check on the hat here. The hat itself is quite good and you'll immediately recognize what it's supposed to be, but it's in the same white as the rest of the head, and yes, that's the color it's supposed to be, but you do get the impression like this is left uncolored to save money or something, even though that's not what it is. Maybe as a builder, this is something you'd like to explore and better separate the outfit from X himself. The head is split from back to front, so we do have a seam going along the length of the hat at the top, but they do cover up some of it at the very back with an extra piece in the middle. It's a very well made head that isn't as heavy on stickers nor as messy as some of the other kits like Benjamin V2, which did use a lot of stickers for the black part of the hat. But the head isn't complete without the monocle, which looks like this here by itself. The blue lens is sadly just a flat surface, so without the sticker, there aren't additional panel lines or anything to separate the lens from the rim. This being all white also seems a bit low budget, but this is easy enough to paint over with silver or gold or any other color to better separate it from the rest of the face. The monocle plugs into the vent on the side of the head, and the top part of it fits really snugly with the brim of the hat, so it looks very natural when it's on the head like this. The cape is in clear red, even though it's not supposed to be clear, but it does look nice enough that a lot of people probably won't mind. It's split into two halves in the back here, so you can move them around for posing or to make room. These will probably get quite badly scratched up in time, and mine here already has a line marked across both pieces, unfortunately. One more small fashion detail here are these parts that represent the collar and the opening of the jacket that he has on. These can be a little bit awkward to handle when you pose them, and they piggyback onto the shoulder, so they're strangely not attached directly onto the torso, but they surprisingly don't get in the way that much, and they are a nice transition from the white arms into the gold and the red of the torso. The Lunar Reflector unit here has yet more of that engraving all over it. They open up along the peg that they're attached to, and the inner side is marked with hexagonal pits that give us a shifting reflection as we look at the part from different angles. Sadly, the part at the back here dips down and it doesn't look that good, and the bigger problem here is also that you can't fill it in without losing all that molded pattern, so for a builder, you either have to accept this ugly pit, or you have to fill in all of the pattern and to figure out your own solution. The reflector itself connects onto the back like this, which looks very X-y, but Arsene doesn't have anything like a satellite cannon or anything, so the reflectors sadly don't work with any weapons in the kit. The part also connects onto the multi-tool like this to let Arsene fly around a bit like a helicopter, which makes this part a little bit more useful than just being on the back. When you close them back up, they don't quite want to clamp together neatly because of the friction on the plastic, and just like this, it would be pretty bad. But actually, the designers did notice this, and they put in a little lip that helps the two halves snap together with just the right strength to hold them shut like this, and it's also not too hard to get apart. So this part is actually very well done. Going back to the multi-tool for a closer look, it works with all these different parts here, so it really does live up to its name. The handle itself looks like this right here, and yes, the poor thing is just savagely hollowed out like crazy, and it's exactly as bad on the other side as well. If you're a builder, then this part is all set to make your life pretty miserable. For the many tips that go into that handle, we first have this needle tip, which also has a bit of hollow spaces on it. And then we also get this clamp that also has a little needle in it. It's not immediately clear what they do, and I don't remember seeing them in the animation, so you're just gonna have to fill in that detail with your imagination exactly what Arsene uses these for. The third head is this drill here, which is the best of the bunch, not only for its gold color, but also for not having any hollow spaces all over it. The function is also the most obvious of them. I mean, it's a drill, so it's gonna make holes inside of things. Other than those three, we have the final attachment, which is the whip head that got used the most by Arsene. It's good to have, but this is actually harder to pose than you might think, because the whip is frozen in a really awkward moment that isn't mid-action, but it's also not quite resting, so you really have to use your imagination to have it fit into a good pose. One really nice surprise here is that Arsene can carry these tools on his body. The handle can be stored in the back skirt here with a peg that goes into this hole. The needle head goes onto this half of the cape on the inside, and then right below it goes the golden drill head. On the other side, we have one more space for the clamp head, and just like that, Arsene has all his tools at the ready whenever he needs it during a heist, with the one exception being the whip here, although it also doesn't make sense to have it stored like this anyway, so I guess we can overlook this little imperfection. On to the articulation. The head goes way back with nothing getting in its way. Then it can look downwards this much. And it turns side to side, but it can't really turn a full circle. The shoulders can swing forward even though there are those jacket pieces attached to them. And the shoulders can be adjusted on their ball joint. The arms swing around a full circle with nothing getting in the way. The lower arm is on a ball joint like this. And it can rotate around a full circle as well. The hands can be adjusted on their ball joint. And they can rotate a full circle. The waist dips forward this much, and it dips backwards this much. It can turn side to side, but if the tools are installed on the back, it does limit the turn a little bit, though the turn is still very good. The legs can be adjusted on its very stiff ball joint. And the kick forward is a little bit pathetic really, even for similar SD kits. The knee band as always is 90 degrees, and again it's very limited to how much space you actually have on the kit with the skirt armor. The ankle armor is on a ball joint and you can move it, but not by much really. The feet are on a ball joint and they can also be really stubborn to move. Arsene moves about as much as a standard SD Gundam World kit, but without any particular standout areas, but also without any particular flaws. The joints get the job done, and if you've ever had any other kits in the line, you know exactly what to expect, which isn't spectacular, but it also isn't terrible in any way. For size comparisons, here's the SD Cross Silhouette RX-78. And then here's the Legends BB Zacto. By head height, Arsene is very much fitting in size with the other SD model kits, and even with the reflectors on the back, he doesn't stick out that much among the other kits. So the very simple verdict here is that he's gonna look pretty good on a shelf with all your other SD kits. With all that said, here's a Hobby Clubhouse 3-point verdict on the SD Gundam World Heroes' Arsense Gundam X. Number 1, he's a Phantom Thief. Without question, much of Arsene's charm is in his Phantom Thief theme, which we've never had in any SD Gundam model kit. Just that alone has gotten many fans old and new really curious about him, and he really does come out how you'd hope him to be, complete with the hat and the cape and the monocle. So if you're among the people interested in how he looks, then you really will enjoy him without any big nasty caveats and buts. And number 2, he's above par in terms of World Heroes kits. At the standard asking price of 660 yen, Arsene makes really good use of that budget with the opening reflector and the multi-tool that gives you many different configurations. You see, you don't actually get a lot of stuff in the box, but you really won't notice that a whole lot because of the way how each thing works with one another. And even the worst parts of the kit, like the stickers on the front skirts, aren't really that bad compared with some of the other more brute force sticker heavy kits that we've gotten in the line. If you're picking among the kits at his price at 660 yen, or you want to get a cheap kit that's fun for a cousin or sibling, then this is a really great choice. And number 3, the embossed detail is a bit of an overkill. For the builders, SD Gundam World Heroes kits always hold a lot of potential to look great, and Arsene has this unique perk of having all those silver embossed details that even anyone with a Gundam marker can fill out and complete, and that part is really nice. But I think the designers went a little bit overboard and added way too much of it, like on the head here, which is just covered all over with them. By the time you color all this in, there's going to be so much silver that Arsene can look a bit splotchy and way too busy, and you might actually kind of miss the cleaner white color that we have on the default kit. I think you'll have to carefully think ahead and consider that balance before going to town with a Gundam marker on Arsene. So that's a review of Arsense Gundam X, the first Phantom Thief SD Gundam who manages to come through with passing marks without many fatal shortcomings. And sometimes that's exactly what a budget price SD kit ought to be. It's perfectly adequate in its role and it's not overreaching or under-delivering. Thank you so much for watching. Come look us up on social media with updates on upcoming videos and sneak peeks at future projects, links are in the description below. Or hang out here some more with one of these other videos. But before you go, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon to be notified of new videos from Hobby Clubhouse, and I'll see you next time.